Hello Year 2, I'm here today to do a maths session for you. Now, this one is if you have the Year 1 maths workout book. So this will be if you are in Mrs O'Keefe's maths set. So if you have the Year 1 workout book, we're going to do some maths this morning. Okay, and we are focusing on today page 5. So it's still thinking about number and place value. And page 5 has got some fish and chips at the top. Okay, question 1 for your maths today says how many fish and chips are there in the picture below? And then you have got a sentence with some missing boxes. And the missing boxes are for you to write the numbers in. So it says there are, you've got a space to write how many fish and a space to write how many chips. Now you're going to find that one very, very simple, Year 2. So all you're going to do first is count all of the fish, and that number goes in the first box, and then you're going to count the chips, and that number goes in the second box. So question 1 is very, very simple. You'll find that so easy. Okay, question 2 then, there are a couple of words in there, a couple of maths words that we need to make sure we know what they mean. Okay, so it asks you to circle the correct word below. Okay, and it's talking about the pictures of the fish and chips in question 1. And all we're trying to decide in question 2 is whether there are more fish or whether there are more chips. Okay, but it gives you 2 words. And the words it asks you to choose from is more. And this word says fewer. Now, fewer is another word that means the same as less, which I think you might have heard a lot more than the word fewer. So more or less. And another word for less that you've got in question 2 is fewer. Okay, so more then is working with a bigger number, isn't it? So if there are more of something, it means that the number is bigger. If you imagine if you've got more sweets than your friend, you've got a bigger number of sweets. So we're looking for the number that is the biggest if we're thinking about more. So if we're thinking about the word fewer, which we said means the same as less, then we're thinking of a number that is smaller. So for question 2, you've got to decide if there is a bigger number of fish than chips, and if there's a bigger number for fish, then there are more fish, whereas if there are a smaller number of fish, then there are fewer fish. So more means the number is bigger, fewer means the number is smaller. And all you have to do for question 2 is circle either the word more or you'll circle the word fewer. Okay, and that's linked to the picture. So are there more fish or are there fewer fish? Are there a smaller number of fish than chips? Okay, question 3, we've got another maths word to think about. Okay, in question 3, we've got this word, and this word says east, least. Okay, and the question asks us, we've got some ladybirds this time, some ladybirds with their spots. So it asks you to circle the ladybird with the least spots. So we need to make sure we know what the word least means. And an opposite to the word least would be most. And again, it's a bit like question 2, thinking about bigger or smaller numbers. So if we were circling the ladybird with the most spots, that would be the biggest number, whereas if we're circling the ladybird with the least spots, it's the one with the smaller number. So least, as well as the word fewer from the last question, least means smaller. What you're going to have to do with your ladybirds, you're going to have to count all the spots, and then what I would do is underneath each ladybird, I would write how many spots there are so that you don't forget. You'll count how many spots on this ladybird, write it underneath, count the spots on this ladybird, write it underneath, and do that for all 4 of the ladybirds, and then you're circling the ladybird, whichever one you think, which has the least spots. So you're circling the ladybird, which has got the least spot. So you're looking for least, the smallest number. And that ladybird will have a circle around it. Okay, question 4 then, your last question. We've got another maths word. We need to make sure we know what it means. And the word, the maths vocabulary, the maths important keyword in question 4 is equal. Have a little chat with your grown-up who's with you. If you know what the word equal means, if you think you've heard the word equal before, have a little chat with your grown-up. You can pause the video if you need to. What do you think the word equal might mean? So more means a bigger number, less meant a smaller number. What might the word equal mean? Okay, hopefully, if you've had a little chat, you might have said that equal is another way in maths of saying the same. So what question 4 is asking you to do is to tick the 2 sets that have an equal number of cubes. So you can see there's a box A, which has got some cubes in. There's box B, which has got some cubes in, and box C, which has got some cubes in. You've got to tick, got a little box space for you to tick, which 2 sets have an equal number. So again, I would do the same as with the ladybird. I would count how many cubes are in box A, write it underneath. Do the same for box B and box C, and then hopefully you should be able to see, if you've done your very best counting, that 2 of them have got the same number of shapes, and that's what the word equal means. It means the same. They are the same. And then you're going to tick which 2 boxes have got the same number of shapes. Okay. Question 1, we're counting the fish and chips. Question 2, we're deciding if there are more fish or more chips. Question 3, we're finding the ladybird with the least spots, so the smallest number of spots. And then question 4, we are finding which 2 sets of cubes have an equal number. So which 2 sets have the same amount of cubes. Okay, as always, remember to take a photo or ask your grown-up to take a photo of your page so that we can have it on our email so that we can see that you've done a really, really super job with that. Okay, trying your best. Remember, thinking carefully about which way round your numbers go when you're writing them down. Have a super try, and we look forward to seeing how well you've got on. Thank you, Year 2.